Hello to all you hip skips out there, and welcome to the jungle. Join Disney historian David Dr. Skipper Marley and art director and crooner Trevor Kelly as these former jungle skips explore the world of Disney, pop culture, and theme parks. But hold on tight, because just like a jungle cruise, their conversations often head deep into uncharted waters. Now, grab a seat and enjoy Expedition 41, Main Street Ankle Gauntlets, Cast Member Strikes, and Who Wants to Annoy the Host of Millionaire. Move it up, Skips.
Hey,
how's it going?
it is going phenomenal.
Is it really?
It is. It is. Whatever day you're listening to this, that's what day it is. And I
Yes.
have some Jack Daniels in a glass, and I'm enjoying myself.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
How are you doing?
Very good. I'm doing all right. Yeah, I've been having a good time. Finished the second edition of my Jungle Cruise history book.
Very nice.
So now I have like some time this summer to kind of chill and relax, which means do nothing, really.
Yeah.
I got to tell you this, and if anyone out there is an educator as well, let me know if this is you. During the summer, I forget what day it is.
Oh, I don't have that problem, at least not until I'm 80. Then I'll have that problem.
Every
all the
summer,
time.
I have to be reminded, oh, it's Friday. Oh, today's Friday? Or I'm like driving. I'm like, why the hell is everybody out driving right now? And my oldest daughter's like, Dad, it's Tuesday at 5. I'm like, oh, okay.
Jess has the same issue.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, it's Saturday, right? No,
Yeah.
it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was thinking of you the other day. I was driving to work and I saw the first wave of fair food trucks starting to make their way towards your neck of the woods.
I hate the fair. Hate. Any cast member, back me up on this. I watch those rides go up and get built. And then like 2 days after they're done, there's humans on them.
Yes.
And that makes every Disney Attractions cast member want to cry and faint. I won't let my kids go on them.
Even as a small child, I was never a brave lad, but I would go, no, I'm not. You can watch it rock on some of these spinny rides. You're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
It must fall under some weird like netherworld of no laws apply to these attractions.
It's different than
It's not OSHA, right?
Oh, it is. But they have different laws because it's a traveling fair as opposed to, but it's still the same if they still have to call OSHA and whatnot if there's an accident or whatever.
It falls under Carney law.
Yes, exactly. But I think Disney gets inspected more than these things do. But at Disneyland, if you don't know, every attraction has to be signed off every morning by 3 separate people. And I got to do it when I was a Jungle Cruise lead a couple times. You get there, there's a maintenance person who signed off and says, I certify this is great and ready to work. And then there's an engineer who's like, everything works, it's safe to operate. And then you have to sign it. And it's a legal document. And so I remember having to sign it going, oh crap, I got to do the animation check again. So like I did it a second time just because I was so paranoid. When Space Mountain suddenly shut down in 2004, it's because the engineer would not sign it. He's like, this is not safe to operate. And they brought in another engineer. He's like, this is not safe to operate. And so they shut it down like a year earlier than they'd planned.
It would have been fine, though, if there was an accident in there, because you'd never know.
You'd never know.
No one can hear you scream in space.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And how far is the blood would just spray on you? You wouldn't know where it was coming from.
I still won't put my hands up in that ride to this day.
No.
And I know it's irrational.
Yes.
But still, no thank you.
I'm like, we're tall. We can't put our arms up. That's just... I never do that anyway because I'm like, I like my arms. I'll just get them knocked off.
You always talk about your prize-winning arms.
I do. My prize-winning monkey arms. Yeah. Right?
I didn't realize, and it's not like this is the first time we've done this podcast. It's been on it's coming up on 2 years in September, which I don't understand.
That's awesome.
2 days after this airs, Disneyland's birthday, quote unquote.
Right.
From when I assume some sort of mother theme park birthed it.
In space.
Yeah.
In space. Let it down, yeah. It's like Nope. It just hung out in the clouds.
That's right. It birthed it onto an orange grove in Anaheim.
It did.
And then it grew into what it is today.
And not to be a junior high boy about it, but this is the 69th anniversary.
Oh, is it?
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. So people are going to love that joke. I haven't seen any yet.
It's coming.
But it will. Yeah.
Hi-oh.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean,
Pirate of the Pacific will do it. Did you work Disney's anniversary ever? Because they sometimes they make it a big deal. Some years they don't.
I never worked an actual birthday of Disneyland.
Okay.
They usually like unless it's like one of those big benchmark birthdays, like, the 69th.
Yeah.
They would just give you a button and some cupcakes or something.
Exactly. Like, here's a button, wear it today. And then never happened to me. A lot of my female friends, cast members, would be like, oh yeah, somebody offered me $40 for it.
Oh, I'd do that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that action.
I still have mine though.
Do you?
Yeah. I have one from Environmentality Day. It has Jiminy Cricket and it's about recycling. I'm like on this metal pin that they made like 5,000 of to hand out.
Not recyclable.
From 1996. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do anything on the 4th?
I live in a city in Orange County that is evidently the capital of illegal fireworks.
Oh.
It is awesome. And when I first moved there, like 15 years ago, there'd be a couple of illegal fireworks going off, and then the helicopter would come by and circle, and they'd have like their spotlight on people, and a cop car would pull up. After 3 years, they just stopped.
Really?
And I found out, they canceled they cut the budget and got rid of the helicopter. And now it is like wartime Berlin in there. It is just boom, 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 boom.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere you look. And it was just, my 15-year-old cat could have cared less. She looked up one time and went,
There was one year, it wasn't 4th of July. It was New Year's Eve. Disneyland, for like the big holidays, 4th of July, New Year's Eve, they shoot off every firework they can get their hands on at Disneyland. And one year they had to cancel the fireworks on New Year's Eve because of wind or something.
Oh, yeah.
And what they didn't tell anybody is the day after, because they had them all set up, they just fired them off at the top of the show.
Wow.
So if you live in the area, you're used to a normal cadence of the firework.
Yep.
We thought we were going to die.
Wow.
It sounded like there were bombs going off just down the street. And so like, everybody in the house froze.
Wow.
And I went outside. I'm like, well, this is it. No, it's just Disneyland shooting off the finale at the top of the show.
Normally, 4th of July, I'm at TikiCon in Portland. So there they just launch hemp into the air.
Okay.
And but I'm up there for TikiCon, which they stopped doing it, which is a shame because they were amazing. And the Portland Tiki community is just great. Met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
One of our Patreon people.
We'll have to make a trip up to Portland.
Done.
It's been a minute. I've only been to Portland once. I immediately enjoyed the amount of pun-based businesses there.
Yeah.
That's what it's their lifeblood.
They started to keep Portland weird, and every other city is like, keep Tustin weird. I'm like, Tustin is not weird, nor will it ever be weird.
Well, keep Portland weird sounds a lot nicer than keep Portland not diverse.
Yes. It is the least diverse big city in America.
I could see it.
It is where white meets bread. It is like white. That is a white town, but it's got the best donut place in the world, Voodoo Donuts, which I love. And it has the greatest bookstore in the history of mankind.
Oh, really?
Powell's Books.
Okay.
4 or 5 stories, and they put the used book right next to the new book. So if you're looking for it, you got options. Oh, it's just...
That's great.
And the other thing I want to tell you is I went to Sacramento since the last time we talked.
That's right.
I went to Sacramento to the store called Stage 9, and they literally could not have treated me any nicer unless they physically brought me food and helped me chew it.
That's next year.
That is next year. Like, move my jaws for me.
It's in your rider.
I'm too important to chew my own jaws. But they were so great and so fun. But when they asked me to, would you come up? I'm like, sure, I'll do it. And I'm like, I never heard of this place. So I look it up. I'm like, oh, my family abandoned me in that store because it's this huge store with all this like cool merch and mugs. It's got a lot of Disney stuff.
Yeah.
And evidently my family got bored of how long I was in there and just left and walked down the street. So I'm like, all right. So I got to linger.
So now they paid you to be there.
They paid me to be there. And they have a whole brand new basement that is filled with Disneyland and Jungle Cruise memorabilia.
Oh, okay.
They have like different like patches of the skins of different animals.
Jungle Cruise animals.
They had the original boat sign for it was the Kissimmee Kate.
Oh, okay.
He's like, yeah, this is from the original boats.
How do you even get that?
I don't know how this guy, I met the guy that it was all his that he sold to the store to sell.
Yeah.
He just knows people. And when it's like a lot of stuff they would just throw in the trash.
Oh, wow.
But they had so much cool Jungle Cruise stuff. They had like some of the skeletons from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And just all kinds of fun things.
So basically they're banking on John Stamos walking into this place.
That's what somebody said. They're like, wow, you guys own this, not John Stamos? I'm like, what? They're like, he owns everything.
They are waiting. That whole thing is just a trap for John Stamos.
For John Stamos. That's right.
Speaking of things, you mind if I pimp this out?
Finally talk, because I've been blabbing like an idiot.
Okay. Tiki Oasis, the first weekend in August. I don't know if it's sold out yet or it's getting real close to being sold out.
Close.
Saturday, August 3rd, me and Dave are going to be bringing the jungle live to Tiki Oasis.
That's right.
We got some fun stuff planned.
Yeah. We're going to have guests. We're going to have at least one planned fist fight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's right. We're backing off on the talking portion of the podcast this year when we're doing it live, and it's going to be more oil-based wrestling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we can align on that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So stay tuned for that. That's right.
But I'm really looking forward to Tiki Oasis. This is going to be a weird one because it'll be the first time that I haven't been vending or giving like a formal talk ever. Like I've never gone to Tiki Oasis and just had fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Guess what we're doing Saturday?
Drinking.
We're drinking a lot.
There we go.
So the podcast, we better not drink before the podcast.
We can start drinking maybe an hour before the podcast.
Maybe. Remember we did the Skipper show? I had a rule I wouldn't let anybody drink before the show. I'm like, don't drink.
Yes, and we all followed it.
You did. As far as I know. And so I'm like, don't drink. You got to keep your edge. You got to stay sharp. And then we had one show. We were on the front page of the Orange County Register. And we sold out that first show so fast, we added a second one.
Yes.
And that first show was awful.
Yes.
They didn't. My mom went. My mom at the time, hand to God, was 81 years old.
Yeah.
She comes up to me and says, wow, that was just a bunch of cranky old people. So if an 81-year-old is calling the room cranky and old, that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
So halfway through that show, I said, guys, just drink as much as you want. This is going straight to hell. And then the second show was fantastic.
It was.
Yeah.
So the key there is booze.
Booze. Booze. No crowds exclusively of octogenarians and then booze.
That's right. Speaking of octogenarians, that kind of leads into something I want to talk about.
Yeah. What you got?
This combines two of my favorite things, early retirement and Taco Bell. They're opening up later this summer an early retirement community pop-up in San Diego where everyone can live like a retiree. It's called the Cantinas. And this sounds fantastic. I'm going to try my best to get into this.
Okay.
It's like a weekend thing where there's like activities like pickleball and whatnot. I'm assuming there are scheduled diarrhea stops throughout the day because I assume all they serve you is Taco Bell.
Why? Does Taco Bell's running this?
Taco Bell is running this.
The irony is anybody who regularly eats Taco Bell will not live long enough for retirement.
That's why they're getting ahead of the game.
Tell all those 30-year-olds, hey, your 70s aren't fun anyway. Here, go.
I saw an article today. It's like, if you have 1 to 2 drinks a week, it can take a couple of months off your life. Take them.
Take them, yeah.
Like the end couple of years are just a blast for anybody.
Right?
Like, I'm good.
Yeah, they're the years at the end, you know? Even if it takes a year off your life, it's like, well, you don't get to be 41. You go straight to 42. You're like, that would kind of suck, but, you don't get to be 94. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Promise?
That is amazing. I had not heard that.
Yeah, it's coming up. I'm going to try my best to get into it, and then I'll send back a report.
Okay, I would love to hear that.
Do you mind if I
please
throw out a subject?
Go ahead. Yes.
We had one of the originators of Fantasmic on a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Fantasmic 2.0 came back after that dragon burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And have you seen the end?
I seen 2 different endings.
Yeah.
They had one and then they changed it a little bit.
Okay. The one I saw was they brought back Maleficent coming up into the air.
Yeah.
And then she just throws fireworks at Mickey for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then lights come on and then she dies.
Yeah.
The least climactic ending I've ever seen to any show that used to have a dragon that lights stuff on fire.
Yeah. It's like they didn't want to reprogram anything.
No.
And people expect a big finale battle. So it'll just be like some dude dressed as Maleficent on a pole. Because
there's something there. Maleficent pole dancing.
Yeah.
And that's who battles Mickey.
I'd see that.
That's 69th anniversary material right there.
It is. That stuff writes itself, man.
There you go.
You got to get your job at Disney. Run their marketing department.
That's right. I'll be there 10 minutes.
Exactly. They're like, take that back to Six Flags.
That's right. That's
Six
where that
Flags.
belongs.
Even Knott's won't touch that. That's how bad that is.
I'm throwing all of my eggs in the Maleficent pole dancing ending. I hope they hear that and then just take it and run with it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No?
It's hard to meet Disney people that high up who are not terrified of losing their jobs. And so that's not even going to...
This is true.
They wouldn't even joke about it for fear of getting fired.
I would love to just really try hard to get a upper level job there, like where I'm in the room with Iger.
Yeah.
And I like That's all I bring up every meeting. How are we going to fix it? You know what? I floated this earlier. I'm just going to bring it back up one more time. 2 words, pole dancing.
Yeah. Right?
That solves everything.
You got them Disney princesses. Let's go for it.
Let's make that work for us.
Man. It could be a themed event around the park. You could have Ariel in the submarine voyage. It could just be everywhere. It'd be great.
Country Bear Jamboree, hitting that pole.
Right?
Oh my goodness. Big Al on center stage.
Right?
The Main Street USA one was it's the most reserved of pole dancing stations.
Because they're still in their Victorian gowns.
It's just ankles.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Ankles. Woo.
Yeah.
Man.
If you can make it past the ankle gauntlet,
Yeah.
there are some far seedier things coming your way.
The only one that would be creepy for me would be Toontown. And, well, Jessica Rabbit, I guess. But if it's anyone else, if it was Clarabelle or something, I would just...
Have you seen Clarabelle dance on Pride?
No? What on Pride? Where?
The Pride Parade. They have Pride Night every year at the park.
Okay.
And Clarabelle comes out in the parade, and they put the fiercest dancer in that costume they can find. Phenomenal.
Well, you'd have to.
Yeah.
Because it's Clarabelle the cow.
It's funny because she's become like an icon on social media because of this
Really?
parade. Where did this cow come from? I don't know.
Yeah.
Silly Symphonies?
Yeah. Very early on in the Mickey Mouse cartoons, I think she dated Goofy. I think they were an item.
Really?
I think.
Is Goofy a dog or a cow?
Don't know what dog he is. He's his own entity.
Because he was Dippity Dog, right? At the start?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think he's a space alien that's pretending he tried to take human form, but got confused with the dog, and then that's gorsk. And that's why he doesn't know how to talk.
And that's
right.
it?
Yeah.
He did all right because he had a son.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never really explained that.
Who named Max?
Yeah.
Which is a good, nice, normal name if your name is Goofy.
That's right.
Yeah.
They never really explained where the mom went, did they?
I don't remember. It was Clarabelle.
Maybe it was Clarabelle.
Maybe. We're not going to judge because really, who cares? It's not up to us.
No.
Right?
You
live your life. But this has gotten random.
This has,
right? Really, really, really random. So, well, more fun Disney news. You heard maybe about the potential Disney strike.
Yes.
That is going to take place, I believe, a day or two after this broadcast premieres.
Potentially the strike?
No, they're voting on it.
Oh, okay.
It's like almost over 40% of the employees at Disneyland are covered by this one union.
Wow.
Or 4 unions that have banded together.
Okay.
But like I read the Times and some other places, and they want like a living wage and more money.
Yeah.
They're like, Bob Iger gets $31 million a year.
Yeah.
For what? He's
Right.
trying to buy a soccer team, so he needs the extra money. I mean, he doesn't, at this point in his life, he doesn't need $31 more million.
No.
Like, they're not trying to take his money. Well, that's the first thing I would do. But they're just trying to make, how about if these people aren't living in their cars
Yeah.
and like, trying to have to go to food banks to get food?
I saw like a person that's been in the park since 87. They make 20 something an hour.
Uh-huh.
The offer that was given to them was 25 cents more an hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. If you've got a good job and you're making a decent salary, they definitely try to get rid of you. That was actually one of Michael Eisner's things.
Really?
He would move people to third shift so they'd work overnights. Like their whole goal was to make them miserable so they'll quit to save money.
Ugh.
And so Disney kind of started that in the early 90s.
Well, I hope they can figure it out
Yeah.
because I still want to visit the park. I have some Magic Key reservations coming up. But if they can't, strike and, turn the screws on them.
Yep.
Make that money.
There was a big strike in 1984, and it was like half of the cast members went out and the other half stayed.
How does that even work? If the park is down to half of its
Yes.
cast, do things operate?
Here's what they did, which I mentioned in my book, coming soon. They flew out cast members from Florida. They flew out managers to run Jungle Cruise.
What?
Yeah. So if you were a manager, you were suddenly running an attraction, but they brought out, I guess, a couple hundred people from Florida to keep it running.
What?
And it was mostly cast members from the West Side that were on strike. So it wasn't just like the whole park. It was one side was really heavier involved in it. Yeah. And so that's how they tried to break that. But every Disney strike ends in the union, because there was a union negotiation when I was there, and it ends the same way. It's like, okay, you can have this little benefit, but anyone that comes after you gets nothing. And so if you're a new employee, you keep getting hosed because the people that are there keep getting stuff.
I heard I heard a rumor. I was talking to an ex-cast member the other night.
Yes.
Let me know if you know about this.
Okay.
Because we all know, like, with deaths in the park, they do their best to usher you off of the park and then declare you.
Yes.
But I heard that with births in the park, a select few people have been able to stave off getting kicked out of the park before they given birth. And if you have a baby in the park, the baby gets a lifetime pass.
The second half is a rumor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've actually read about this.
Really?
There was a rumor that if your baby's born, they get a free lifetime pass. That is not true.
No.
And Disney has turned away women that were clearly about ready to give birth. Or like there was a woman that was like in labor and didn't want to leave. And Disney like, here's an ambulance, you're leaving.
Yeah.
They were very strict about it. They're like, you're not giving birth in the Main Street bathroom by City Hall.
No.
But there was a rumor, so they have to keep saying, no, you don't get free.
So,
and
that free
I know
pass.
it's not true because I was actually born in the parking lot of Disneyland. And no, I wasn't.
I was like, I never knew this.
They kicked my mom out.
But you have free lifetime parking now.
I do. I can park whenever I want. Exactly. I was born in Orange. I get free firework viewing, I guess is what I get.
I saw this thing. I don't want to make you mad.
Okay.
Or ruin your day.
Is it about the fair?
No, it's not
Okay.
about the fair.
Okay.
I saw that Halloween starts even earlier this year at the park. August
No.
kicks into
August
gear.
what?
August 23rd.
It's only 1 week early,
Yeah.
but still. August, it's 112.
In that thing that was showing all the old footage of Disneyland and the Imagineers were talking over it, they mentioned that Christmas only used to last 2 weeks at the resort
Oh, that'd be heavenly.
back in the day.
Heavenly. Now I think it starts during Halloween, like the
Yeah.
night of Halloween, and it lasts until mid-March.
They actually combined them now.
Oh,
It's which they technically do with Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah.
But,
Baby Jesus is now a skeleton in the manger.
they actually zip lined the baby Jesus from the
Matterhorn down?
behind
Yeah.
the castle now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Tinkerbell get caught?
Yeah, I
Yeah?
did back in the day. It
Yeah.
was delightful because
It was-
now it's like a motorized system that
Yeah.
is too nice.
Now it's got, yeah.
I enjoyed seeing the speed and then just slam into Teamsters.
Yeah. And she was always bigger than you'd think.
Yeah.
She's like not a small woman so that you can see her.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, oh, I thought she'd be like 5'1". And my buddy goes, dude, you have to be able to see her.
It's true.
Like, oh, perspective. I'm not an artist, so perspective.
A
and
lot of
distance.
people don't know this. It's actually one of the Globetrotters is Tinkerbell.
It's Meadowlark Lemon.
That's right. He does a trick shot in the full-size basketball court
does.
on the top of the Matterhorn,
Yep.
and then he zip lines away.
Yep. He's 6'8", and they put him in a giant Tinkerbell costume and zip him down.
I've been bogarting the topics. You throw
No,
out a topic.
I'm the one that started talking and wouldn't stop. Here's a fun thing I got to do.
Yeah.
I want to share. We're like heavily Disney stuff today. The new Disney hotel for the Disney Vacation Club.
Oh, really?
I got to go visit one of the suites.
Really?
It was my good friend Scott from Orlando. He and his beautiful
Oh,
wife.
very nice.
It was quite nice.
Oh, I'll bet.
Nicer than any like apartment I've ever rented.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I showed a video of it, of looking out at the,
Oh, yeah.
the view of the pool and everything, and Trader Sam's.
That tower is quite nice.
Yeah.
We hung out at the Breeze bar
Yeah.
down there. That was good stuff.
It was beautiful.
With their fake Mary Blair mural.
Yeah.
That, and you can Google it. It hurt my senior art director heart looking at that mural because whoever the artist was did a fine job. You can tell it was designed by committee, trying to mimic Mary Blair's overall style.
Yeah.
But it was all digital, like these clean lines. Like she was, and I can't say the word, gouache.
Oh, yeah.
Her
Gouache?
her preferred medium of painting. You didn't even do that.
Yeah.
And you can do that digitally now.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I'm sorry. I'll get off
No,
my soapbox.
It's actually one of my favorite things to do with you because you see things that I don't even notice. Like when we did our Patreon show where we toured the park.
Yeah.
And you were pointing out like design things. It's a sign I didn't like. I didn't know why. And you're pointing out like the
Oh,
problems
yeah.
in it. And I'm like, okay. But you see things that I would never have noticed.
That's that sweet neurodivergent brain.
That's right. We're both there for it.
That's right.
But that was fun.
That was cool that you got to go up in there.
It's one of those things where I walked in, I'm like, I'm going to soak this in because I ain't never coming back.
Right.
Like, do you ever get to go in Walt's apartment?
No, I've never been in anything of Walt.
Okay. So we should talk about that sometime because I've been to 2 of Walt Disney's houses.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's chat about it.
Should I do it like in chronological order?
Whatever is most entertaining to you?
The historian will choose chronological order.
Okay.
All right. So I'm in third grade, which is, how old are you in third grade?
25.
Yeah, well,
I
we got news for you. Yeah. But at least you graduated. You know, you were in your early 30s before you got out of high school, but you did it.
I was so good at handball by the time I graduated third
Man,
grade.
those kids got bruises that don't heal.
That's right.
So third grade, so like 8 or whatever. And my dad was an executive at Baskin Robbins. I think I've told people that. And they had a deal with Disney in the 70s where we talked about this, where there's an ice cream flavor.
Yeah,
right?
ice cream.
So for some reason, we got to go to Palm Springs for the weekend and stay at his Smoke Tree Ranch house.
What?
And for some reason, it was just my dad and my mom and I.
It was just you cats at the Smoke Tree
Well,
Ranch?
no, and an executive from Disney Studios
Okay.
and his kids.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember we left and none of my friends believed me. The teacher didn't believe me. You're going to Walt Disney's house in Palm Springs. And I'm like, but I am. So we went there and we were there in the Smoke Tree Ranch. And I remember the house was like a little ranch house,
Yeah.
you know? And I like slept on the floor in my parents' room, and they had a big movie screen that came down, and we watched Around the World in 80 Days.
Very nice.
And he had a pool, and I remember the pool in the backyard was rough, and it cut all our feet up. It's like all the kids, our like toes were like all like red and bumpy, and
That's what Walt wanted.
exactly.
Make sure the bottom of the pool's rough.
It
so
made me
cuts their
swim
feet
better.
up.
I got to tell you that. I was already a good swimmer, but to the point where like I'm not touching this ground; it hurts.
It'd be funny if every one of his properties had the same partner statue, but like for Smoke Tree, it's like him in a cowboy hat pointing like a gun at the front of it
No matter what, like themed.
every time.
That would be awesome. But it was just on a street in Palm Springs in this like country club area.
Do they give you any like Smoke Tree Ranch like pins or napkins or anything?
None of that I remember.
Oh, man.
Because this was in the mid 70s, so he'd been dead maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
So it was still, I guess the company owned it, but it might have still been owned by the family. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But that was really fun. And so I got to stay at Walt Disney Smoke Tree Ranch house. And then the next time I got to was Walt's apartment.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of us trainers, Jungle Cruise trainers that got to go.
And Walt's apartment in the park.
In the park, yes.
Okay.
So we got to go there, it's very tiny. So if you've seen pictures of it, they do great at making it look much bigger than it is.
I've never been in this.
It is not big. And like you see the couches, if you ever look at a picture of it, there's 2 couches that face each other that pull out into beds. There's barely enough room for a person between those 2 couches if the beds were pulled out. Like it's not huge.
Wow. Is there a bedroom in there or is that it?
Nope, that's it. It's like a living room and there's 2 big couches that pull out and then beds. And there's a little like kitchenette and a bathroom.
Yeah.
And but we got to there's a little patio where we got to just hang. For some reason, they let a bunch of skippers just hang out there. And we were going to do it again a second time. This time I brought my camera and I was very excited.
Yeah.
And that was the day of the big thunder accident.
Oh, no.
And so we're all standing there waiting. We're like, where's the manager?
Yeah.
And then this one lead comes running up there. Hey, there was an accident at Thunder. They canceled your event. And then they just took off.
Oof.
And like the 8 of us just stood there. So that was the second time I got to go to Walt's property. And then the third time was we got to visit his house on Working Way up in Los Feliz neighborhood of LA.
Yeah.
And it was owned at the time, I don't know if he still owns it, but the guy that directed the film, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Ooh.
Which is historically accurate, as you know.
That's true. That was shortly before he went to the theater, right?
Exactly.
Just finishing hunting vampires.
Exactly. And they just waited till night and then they got him. During the day, they couldn't touch him. That's why the Gettysburg Address was given during the day.
He always
He
did
knew
it.
he was safe. Yeah.
Smart.
He knew he was safe. But it was, then this owner, this guy, tried to restore it to the way it looked. So I have a picture, I can post it, of me standing in the balcony of his house right where Walt stood. Our good friend, photographer Mike Poocher.
Oh, very nice.
Had each of us go up there and kind of lean, like get in the same spot
Yeah.
and took our picture.
Ah.
And we got to, and like the little Snow White house that he had built is still there in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
And I think I told you this part. It was all these famous Disney people, all these executives and like mucky mucks. And I'd met a lot of them, but Andres Deja was there.
Oh, nice.
And I had no reason to talk to him.
Yeah.
So being a good Californian, I'm like, I don't talk to like a famous person just for the hell of it.
Yes.
I'd rather die. So I was just in the little pool area by the Snow White thing having a drink, and he walks up to me and he's like, why? And I was all alone, and he just kind of comes cruising up. He's like, hey, you're the guy that teaches that history of Disneyland stuff. I'm like, what the hell world am I living in?
Right.
Yeah, it was
Oh
very
my
surreal
gosh.
because we talked about him before with his movie that came out.
That's right.
But
Mushka.
that was
he just came out with another animated like music video or short recently.
That man could not have been any more kind or gracious. Like a lot of people that are that level of talent.
Yeah.
They're just super chill.
Yeah,
'Cause they got nothing to
absolutely.
prove,
Yeah.
you know? It's like, hey, I made your childhood magical. What else do you want?
That's right.
So that was my third trip to a Walt Disney house.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And then once I broke into Roy Disney Jr.'s house, but that's a different.
And not even the actual Disney. It's just some guy named Roy Disney
Yes,
Jr. that lives in
evidently
Seal Beach.
not even related.
Yeah.
I kicked in the door and everything. And
He has a nice car, so.
it was a Volvo, an 86 Volvo. It was kind of old, but
Armin Gia. That reminded me of, speaking of like celebrities and whatnot, and like why you can't bring skippers anywhere.
Yeah.
There was a brief period of time where my dad was a scout for the Dodgers, and because of that town, entertainment people love sports and sports people love entertainment.
Yeah.
And so there was this weird incestual relationship where, you know, you'd get executives box seats for the game, and then they would in turn get you sweet movie premiere VIP passes and whatnot. So there was a couple of years where me and a couple of Jungle Cruise friends like Joey and whatnot were going to movie premieres that we had no business being at for a while. We went to like Men in Black 2.
Dang.
And it was always, I wasn't 21. The booze was flowing.
wow.
I was 20 maybe at
Yeah.
that point.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough.
That's a Hollywood 25
That is
right there.
That is. If you were a girl, it'd be like Hollywood 50.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
You already aged out.
Already aged out by 20.
So we'd go and have the open bar and eat and whatnot. But this reminded me of, there was a Martin Lawrence movie that was just terrible. I can't even remember what it was.
That doesn't narrow it down. A lot.
No, it doesn't. So
Doesn't.
we're in the movie. The bummer part of some of these is you have to watch the movie.
Big Mama's house?
No, it wasn't Big
Okay,
Mama. It was
okay.
like national. It was like he was a cop in it, and it wasn't
Okay.
Bad Boys.
Okay.
Because it was just Martin Lawrence. So Will Smith was off hitting somebody. I
Okay.
think. And so there's always one part in these Martin Lawrence movies where he actually tries to be a serious actor, and there's like a serious beat in it.
Yeah.
And we're in like one of these old like Westwood movie palaces.
Okay.
Full of everybody. Martin Lawrence is there and whatnot. And everybody that made the movies in there. And this is like the serious moment in the film. And he's like, Martin Lawrence is trying to like act and emote and whatnot.
Yeah.
You could hear a pin drop in that theater. And Joey thinks Martin Lawrence trying to act serious is the funniest thing he's ever seen. His laugh echoed throughout the theater. He couldn't stop
I
laughing.
can picture Joey doing that. It wasn't even a subtle laugh.
No, it was like a hyena laugh. And it just, one part terrified me, other part made me so happy knowing that Martin Lawrence was hearing somebody just riotly laugh at him trying to act serious.
That was his last film.
That was our last premiere.
Was it really?
Yeah, we didn't have a good track record. I accidentally told the head of Sony that Triple X sucked, and I didn't know it was the head of Sony. We went to the premiere of that crappy Vin Diesel movie. He's like, "Oh, what'd you think of it?" "Oh, it was terrible."
That crappy Vin Diesel, you got to narrow it down.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, Fast and the Furious, delightful.
Still haven't seen it.
We've touched upon it before. I'm going to make you watch all of them. Not all of them,
and
from
then
5 on.
You and I'll watch Hamilton and Spielberg's West Side Story.
Okay, West Side Story?
Which I've watched 4 times in the past week. It's my favorite film of Steven Spielberg.
Really?
I would, if you had to destroy every Steven Spielberg film but one,
Yeah.
that is the one I would save.
I'll watch it. I'm interested in seeing that. You made me listen to Hamilton when I was more hungover than I've ever been in my entire life on the way back from Palm Springs.
I don't know if you were hungover or if you were just still wasted. Like you were. Like to
I
the
was
point where
dying.
I'm like, I don't think I'm going to have to call Jess, but I may have to call Jess or just like figure out, hey, what's your health insurance? Because I'm driving you to that hospital.
I assumed I looked like when they found E.T. in a ditch. That was a good time.
Speaking of which, I am dying to go back to Palm Springs.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in order.
Yes. And I wanted to go back to Vegas for one screaming reason.
Yeah.
To see the Beatles Love.
That's
And
right.
It's closed.
It's all closed.
I don't know if, do you know if it's going to come back anywhere?
No, I don't think so. I think that's that.
I saw it one time with my children, and the whole time I'm like, God, if you saw this high,
Oh my goodness.
it would be awesome or terrifying.
It was a delightful show. I saw it once.
It was great.
We used to love going to the Mirage. I heard that they have to legally get rid of $2 million in unclaimed jackpots through their jackpots this weekend at the Mirage. So I'm assuming it's going to be a madhouse.
What I'm hearing is road trip.
A $2.6 million road trip.
Let's go do it. Let's go. I got nothing to do until like late August. I'm good.
Well, speaking of,
yes,
I'm going to try to do a proper segue.
Okay.
Speaking of potentially being a millionaire.
Good Lord, that was smooth.
Ooh. They just brought back Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
And it brought back a flood of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know it came on in 99.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
99, it was the most popular thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Regis Philbin with his tone-on-tone tie and shirt.
Because that's when I had to first start buying dress shirts.
Oh.
And everything was red shirt, red tie.
Yeah.
Blue shirt, blue tie. And I'm like, I like to mix it up a bit. And they're like, oh, this is the hot look. And my brain goes, the hot look? You don't want that. Because in a year, it won't be.
You literally, if you had a suit with a shirt and tie at that point in time, you had to dress like Regis Philbin.
Yep. It was weird. It was a thing.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
Like men's dress fashion doesn't get that militant, and it did for Regis Philbin was leading the world with fashion.
That's a weird statement. So last night they brought it back. It was the first. They're having like a series of celebrities partners on there, and it was John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, and Jimmy Kimmel's the host.
Oh, I would have loved that.
It's phenomenal. It's on Hulu. You can fire it up. Shout out to Nick Kroll though. Did the tone-on-tone tie and shirt.
Did he really?
And nobody mentioned it.
Ah,
It depressed me.
that's unappreciated genius.
It was.
Is what that is.
But it did remind me of the park. DCA had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire live in the Hollywood section of the park. And it reminded me because the main prize was a cruise, a Disney cruise. This also happened around the same time as Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And that inspired my last day prank. And that also inspired Rit Misi to come up with a foolproof plan to get one of us on stage at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Uh-huh. Can you imagine if Rit was an evil genius? We'd be screwed.
Oh, yeah.
We would be dead.
He just focuses on getting on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and couponing.
And not conquering the world because he would. He would be on our money right now.
And so what we did, there's the fastest finger that the entire audience takes part in.
Yeah.
But it's A, B, C, D. So there's only so many combinations of those letters that you can hit. It's going to be one of several. So what we did is each one of us picked like A, B, C, D, B, C, A, D. And the second the thing lit up, we punched it in and it worked. I got picked to go on to the hot seat and immediately enraged the host.
Really? How shocking. What did you do?
I know.
I don't know this story. What'd you do?
I sat in the chair sideways with my legs hanging over it, and it was a spinny chair. So I just spun the whole time. And every question, I just referred to the host as Regis. And so by 1,000, this guy was done with me. But it's amazing because it's it's like the full set with the lights.
I remember it.
And the music.
I went to it.
And so the guy just has this little idiot just twists around in his chair and he'd ask a question like if it was a math question, whatever question was about, it was, well, you know, Regis, I'm no mathematician, but I think it's B.
Yeah.
And so I got up to maybe, I think 16,000.
Wow.
And then I lost.
Oh.
But at that point, there was a clear, like you could sense it in the auditorium, his pure hatred of me. And he was thrilled to bits I got kicked off. But what happened was I went outside and the phone-a-friend is outside. And so when the next contestant came on and the phone-a-friend kicked in, the phone rang. And it was, hey, Regis.
And he died of a rage stroke right
He was
there.
so mad. Here's the best part of this story. Show ends, audience comes out. Who comes out with a posse full of people but Wesley Crusher from
No
Star
way.
Trek The Next Generation?
No way.
He sees me, he comes up and he's like, that was great. That host was a jerk. Me and all my friends are going to City Hall right now to complain about him.
No way.
I'm like, Wesley Crusher for the win.
Man. I've only heard good things about him. Will Wheaton, ladies and gentlemen.
A delight.
Wheaton.
He was
Yes.
so nice.
Yes.
And, not deserving of all that Captain Picard, shut up Wesley
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
he got on that show.
Right? Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so he clearly got it. He realized
He
it.
did. Man. Yeah. So Wesley Crusher got a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host potentially fired.
Eventually fired.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fine.
Well, if it was a Star Trek episode, he would have ended it the way every Star Trek episode ended, with him in it. He just pushes the right button. We're going to die. Hang on, Captain. Toot. And so our joke was, I think he just finds the button that cues the credits. That was it.
Shut up, Wesley.
There it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Now for the most dangerous part of our show, the return to civilization. If you've enjoyed the show and want to show some support while also getting some adventurously good extras, visit patreon.com/The Jungle Podcast. Also, if you could be so kind as to follow the lads on Instagram, I know they'd be thrilled. At Dr. Skipper Marley and at the.Trevor.Kelly. See you hip skips next time in The Jungle.